Let's start with the prayers. Vasudeva sutam devam kamsa chanuramardhanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Lord Krishna is the Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru means the teacher of the entire universe. And Bhagavad Gita is his song. And in the whole of Bhagavad Gita, it is the voice of Lord Krishna who is trying to explain to us his nature. He is also talking about our nature. Throughout the Gita, we must have this background information that this Gita is a song by the Creator himself, the creator of this universe. And it is this Creator who is coming to teach us what is the creation, what is the Creator's nature, who am I in this creation, what is my nature. This is a very, very divine subject matter, and anybody who is interested in this comes to the Bhagavad Gita with a very, very open mind. Because what is being taught here is a very, very deep subject matter. It is unlike the knowledge of the world which we see in front of us. It is unlike the nature of the body which we witness every day. So this knowledge is about the subject, the knowing principle, the knower of this world. I am aware of my body. Who is this awareness principle? What is this awareness principle? Who is seeing this body? Who is knowing the world? That is the subject matter. The knowing principle, the knower. It is not talking about some God in Vaikuntha, some God in Kailasha. No. Bhagavad Gita is a song, is a teaching of Lord Krishna for us to know that the Lord is here and now. For us to know that that Lord is in me and in the entire universe. It is not a lesson, it is not a teaching where you will say, okay, after you die, you will realize. That is called as Videha Mukti and so on. So when we learn the Bhagavad Gita, we must realize that it is talking about me the consciousness. I am not aware that I am this. I am the Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means I am the knowing principle. The body is inert. The body is like a wall. The body is like a rock. It is made up of matter, the Panchabhutas. You cannot deny the fact that you are a knower. Throughout the day, you are a knower, a knowing principle. This knowingness is there right from birth till today. It has not changed. The body may have undergone change. The cells in the body undergo change every second. The mind also undergoes change. The vrittis, the thoughts undergo change. But there is a constant principle which is called as kshetrajna, the knower of the body. Nobody can deny that I know my body. I know my thoughts. Now, this sense of I is not a part of the body. It is a separate principle. It is something which is different than the matter. That is all we can say about the spiritual principle. It is not matter. I cannot describe the spiritual principle through the words. The Upanishads clearly tell me that this consciousness principle cannot be described in words. We must know that I am this. That knowingness is the chit principle. I know my body, I know my mind. The knowing principle is the chit. Chit means consciousness. And this chit is always existing as I am, I am, I am. So if I want to know who I am, the only way the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita tell us is drop all what you think you are as the body or as the mind. Drop it. And then ask the question, who am I? How do I do this inquiry? Tattva Bodha gives us a methodology. And what is the methodology? You try to inquire, who am I in the three states: waking state, dream state, sleep state. This is the path, one path to know who am I. This is what I am discussing in the Wednesday class, Mandukya Upanishad. Then we have a second route. The second route is, I am not the gross body, I am not the subtle body, I am not the causal body. This is another path of inquiry. In each of these paths, our mind has to go and in the direction of the teaching. So the gross body is not me, which is made up of Panchabhutas. The subtle body is also the mind, which is made up of subtle Panchabhutas. The causal body is also not me. It is made up of ignorance, which is also matter principle. And the one who is aware of all the three bodies is the kshetrajna. The one who is aware of all the three states of consciousness, waking, dream, and sleep, is Atma, kshetrajna. Then the third path is, I am not the five koshas. Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. That is described beautifully in Taittiriya Upanishad. And the witness of these five koshas is Atma, kshetrajna. In the Bhagavad Gita, another path is shown, which is called as discrimination between kshetram and kshetrajna. What is kshetram? Kshetram is all what I experience. Everything, including the body, including the ego, including the emotions, all that I put into one basket. And that I call it as kshetram. All the human beings which I see, all the plants, trees, oceans, everything I put it into one bigger basket. It is called as prapancha. So both this body, shariram, and prapancha are called as Kshetram. And the seer, the knowing principle, is called as Kshetrajna. And this Kshetrajna is also to be, it ought to be known. This, if I want to be free from the body identification, then I must know Kshetrajna. What ought to be known is called as Jneyam. Knowing which I will remain without sorrow in my life. The more I identify with the body and mind, I will be having sorrow. There is no doubt. Throughout, there is no other solution except the solution of knowing this consciousness awareness principle. The body identification cannot be dropped by any other method. These, whatever I have said so far, may sound very abstract. But really speaking, if you just go through these teachings, it is very, very simple. Because it is talking about me only. If it is talking about some star, some planet, some abstract gravitational theory or the light theory or something like that, it may be abstract, it may be difficult to understand, or some mathematical problem or some computer software, all that may be difficult. But here we are talking about myself. So Kshetrajna is the one which is to be known. Now, one very important teaching in this chapter and in the Upanishad is there is oneness between the body, the seer of the body, and the oneness between the seer of the entire universe, which we call it as Ishvara. The principle of knowing is the same in the body and it is the same in the universe. Paramatma is the seer of the entire universe. It is a cosmic being. That Paramatma, the nature of that seeing in the Paramatma is also there in this body. Therefore, I am able to know the emotions. I am able to witness my body. There is a technical explanation for this oneness. The technical explanation is called as Mahavakya Vichara. It is a methodology to see this oneness. And in higher texts of Vedanta, this methodology becomes more and more clear. One of the important aspects which is said in the Upanishads is that I am one with this Ishvara's consciousness awareness principle in sleep. In the 6th mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, it clearly says that this individual Sakshi merges with the cosmic Sakshi at the time of sleep. Therefore, I can say that there is one consciousness principle in the entire universe. I'm bringing in some teaching so that you can experience this consciousness in you, so that it is revealed that this consciousness is a fact, it's a truth, it is the awareness. Every time I am experiencing something, you should say to yourself, I am the awareness principle. I am looking at the world through my eyes and I see form. I am looking at the world of sound through my ears and I am aware of the sound. I am the awareness principle in my tongue. I am aware of all the tastes. The tongue, the eyes, the ears are upadhis, instruments. They come in the waking state. They are not experienced in the sleep state. But I, the awareness principle, am always there in sleep, without the upadhis, in waking with the upadhis of the body and mind. I am the awareness. There is angry thoughts in my mind. I become aware. I am not the anger in the mind. I am the awareness. I have desires in my mind, but I am not the desire. I am the witness. I am the awareness. Learning to say that I am this awareness, consciousness, deliberately will help us to own up this consciousness in times of difficulties. Whenever there is some news of sorrow around us, if I train my mind to say and to believe 100% that I am this awareness, I always remain changeless. I am eternal. I am nityaha. These are the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. This is what is Jnaya Vastu. In the 13th chapter, Kshetrajna is the same as awareness. Jnayam is the same as awareness. Purusha is also awareness. It is one entity which is called as the reality. Why is it called reality? Because it never changes. Satyam. That is the only thing which is changeless in the entire creation. The states of the mind, waking, dream, and sleep, they come and go. The states, in the states, there is an individual who is the experiencer, and there is a world which is experienced. They both are a pair. So waker and the world, waking world, the dreamer and the dream world, the sleeper and the sleep world, they are all pairs. They come and go. But the chaitanyam, the consciousness, the awareness never changes. And that is why it is called in technical terms, this chaitanyam is called as vivarta upadana karanam. Vivartam means changeless, cause of this entire universe. And what is the changing? The parinami upadana karanam. That is called as changing material cause. The 5 elements are the changing material cause of the entire universe, which is called as Kshetram. So at any time, these two are available when we are experiencing the world. But that knowing principle can remain independently without the world. And that knowing principle in the sleep state, I claim as my real nature. That is called as Kshetrajna. That is the Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam is illuminating the waking world. Chaitanyam is illuminating the dream world. Chaitanyam is illuminating the sleep ignorance. When I own up that Chaitanyam, that awareness, that consciousness, which is illuminating the ignorance in the sleep state, I can say I am one with that Ishvara. That oneness which we described in the third verse of the chapter 13, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata, that must be known as the witness principle of the sleep state. The moment, because in the waking state it's difficult for us to split the consciousness, awareness, and the matter. In the dream, it is almost difficult. In the sleep state, I can imagine what is that ignorance. And I can imagine there is an experiencer of that ignorant state. And I can imagine in the waking state that there is a consciousness which is the illuminating principle of that state. And that consciousness is one. With reference to that consciousness, if I look at it from that consciousness state point of view, as I, the consciousness, then what will be the statement I will make? I will say, I am real. I am the Satyam, the substratum of the waking state and the dream state and the sleep state. I am the pure consciousness. Exactly like the waker says, I am the Satyam with reference to the dream. Dream world, dreamer, dream world, and the dream experiences, all three are nothing but me, the waker. Similarly, the super waker is this consciousness. It is one consciousness which is illuminating or projecting this entire Jagrat Avastha. This is the way Mandukya Upanishad will describe the entire oneness. This oneness inquiry is a very, very special inquiry. Mahavakya Vichara. It is there in all the four Mahavakyas. Aham Brahmasmi Vichara, inquiry. I am that Brahman, I am that Chaitanya. Brahman means awareness. Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is the reality. That is also a Mahavakya. Tattvamasi, you are that. That is also Mahavakya. I am Atma Brahma. This awareness, consciousness is the reality. That is in Mandukya Upanishad. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the third verse is the Mahavakya. Chapter 13, third verse. kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. I am the consciousness in all the bodies, and I exist independently, without the bodies. The bodies are dependent on me, the consciousness, to become aware of the world. I am that electricity principle which is glowing in the bulb of all the bodies. So with this introduction to the 13th chapter, I will go straight into the 16th verse where we stopped. We have finished 15 verses. We have seen the previous verse. This is a very important verse. Sarvendriyagunabhasam sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarvabhrishchaiva nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. So this consciousness principle is nirgunam. That is one of the important points in this verse. This is a very important verse. After the third verse of chapter 13, this verse is the most important. Because in one verse, that Lord is explaining to us that I am in all the indriyas, the light of all the sense organs is me. So if you want to know, just close your eyes and you can know what is that consciousness, what is that Lord. When you close your eyes, 90% of the knowledge which we get of the world comes from the eyes. That's what the scientists say. And the balance comes through the ears, that is the second. The king of all the sense organs is the eyes. Then comes the sound, the ears. So when we close our eyes in meditation, we are already one with that pure consciousness. If I remember this teaching, that this Lord is there in me, I want to know this Lord in me, you are sure to find that Lord in you when you close your eyes. But one important fact, you must believe in the Bhagavad Gita, which says that that Lord is in this body. That awareness principle is there. If you don't have that knowledge and you search all over the universe, you will never find God. Lord says very clearly, if you want to know me, look in you, which is called as Adhyatma Yoga. The real yoga is trying to know this consciousness principle. The physical yoga which we do is a practice. It is the first step before we come to the real yoga. The real yoga is I turn my mind inward and I realize the truth. When I realize the truth, which is the illuminating principle in this body, I am free. I am free from the identification that I am this body. If you put that knowledge together, every one of us can get that freedom here and now. Don't postpone, not required. While listening itself, I am a sentient being. I am a knowing principle. I am not the inert body. I am not the inert mind. They are objects for the awareness principle. Like the tree outside is an object for the eyes. Like the sound is an object for the ears. All these are the objects of the mind. And the mind is the object of this awareness. So in this verse, how does the Lord try to describe his nature? He says, Sarvendriyagunabhasam. That means I am the light behind all the sense organs. Sarvendriya vivarjitam. This is the second lesson in this verse. Very important verse. Sarvendriya vivarjitam means what? I am existent without the indriyas functioning in the sleep state. The indriyas, the sense organs, are functioning in the waking state. I am behind them. That is clear. The second part of it is, even when the sense organs are not there or passive condition, because the mind has become passive, I am still there. Vivarjitam. Vivarjitam means I drop. Even when the sense organs are not functioning, I am there. Which means what? Without the body also, this knowing principle is there. This is what was described in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in the 20th verse. I am Nitya Surupam. So all these verses are all tied together. But if I remember this knowledge, and if I own up this knowledge, what can I say? I can say I'm immortal. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of anything in life. They are all objects of awareness. I am the pure consciousness. I am immortal. I am free from the identification with the body, because they come and go. If I have this knowledge, then you can see how beautiful my life will be. I will take the life as it comes. The body is experiencing certain emotions, experiences which are there. Sukham and dukkham, loss and profit, mana, apamana, honor, dishonor. These are all the things which are there in the outer world. But with reference to consciousness, these are nothing. They are time bound. But consciousness is not time bound. It is ever shining principle. So that is why this 15th verse, please remember, is one of the very important verses. Understand the meaning of this verse at depth. You can refer to the commentaries of Swami Chinmayananda. You can refer to the commentaries of any commentator, any reference book which you are following for Bhagavad Gita. You can read the commentary and learn the depth, and you can see for yourself and know that consciousness as yourself, as your real nature. It is extremely important because this is the practical side of the Bhagavad Gita. Many people don't know how to use the Bhagavad Gita to become in their own self, you see. We may have read, we may keep all these notes and things like that, but ultimately you must remember, I have to apply the knowledge to myself. I have to apply whatever I learn. Let me apply it to me. I know a lot of people who listen to these talks, they apply to themselves and then they call me to verify. Is this the correct understanding? Is this the correct understanding? Is this the correct understanding? And once their doubts are cleared, they become free. They're able to manage the life as it comes. Their mind becomes lighter because of the clarity of this knowledge. This spiritual knowledge can make your mind very clear. That is the advantage of learning the Bhagavad Gita. The more you learn the Bhagavad Gita and absorb the knowledge, your mind becomes clearer and clearer and clearer, purified by this knowledge. Pavitram. This is the knowledge which is the most purifying principle in the entire universe. Because the other purifying material are all external. But this is a knowledge which purifies your mind. There is no other substitute for this knowledge. This knowledge is coming from the Bhagavad Gita, it is coming from the Upanishads. And you can go through different texts and understand it is the same. They're all talking of the same consciousness, awareness. In different ways, it can be studied. In different texts, there are more than 50, 60 books which are available, which Vedantic students who are learning, who are doing this type of study, they read, they go through, these type of texts. In my website, I have about 25, maybe 30 texts, which are all talking of the same Kshetrajna. In different ways, you will find they are all talking of the same one subject matter. Okay, so now let's go to today's verse, which is the 16th verse. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatva tadvigneyam durastam chanti kechatat. What does this say? Here it says that this consciousness principle doesn't have any division. Normally, we get a division inside, within me, and outside me. Whenever we make this division within and without, it is with reference to either the body or the mind. When I analyze with reference to the body, I will say all the outer objects are without. That means without means outside me. The tree is outside me, the flowers are, the roads are outside me, everything I see outside. And then when I say within me, what it means is emotions, thoughts. These are all within me. Within this body, there are so many organs. The lungs, the liver, the heart, there's so many different parts of the body, the legs, the head, the hands. These are all within. So with reference to the body, we say it's all inside me or outside. But with reference to the consciousness, which is illuminating the mind, and the consciousness which is illuminating the body, and the consciousness which is illuminating the entire universe through the sense organs, there is no difference. There is no inner and outer. Like the space inside the room and the space outside the room. With reference to the walls, I say there is a small space in this room. There's a bigger space in the hall. There is a small space in the kitchen. There's a big space in a stadium, because stadium has got a wall around the stadium. But what happens to the space outside the stadium? So similarly, when we look at this consciousness, within and without all beings are nothing but bodies. The bodies are nothing, it is like the walls. Once the bodies are gone, consciousness is all pervading. It appeared as if that person was conscious of his body only. I am conscious of my thoughts only. That is because of my mind and because of my body. The body and the mind are linked. And the consciousness is illuminating this particular body and the mind. Moving and non-moving. Once you have understood the within and without, the rest of the things becomes very easy. Moving means all the things which are moving. Human beings are moving, the animals are moving, the birds are moving. Non-moving means the mountains are stationary. But the Sat principle, the existence principle, or the consciousness principle, which is illuminating the world outside, is without any division. Near and far, they are also with reference to a particular point of reference. With reference to this body, I can say the desk is near me and the tree is very far. India is very far from me. That is because this body is in Singapore, or this body is in India. Singapore is very far. But consciousness is all pervading. It is never changing. It is always there. It has got no boundaries. So, bahirantasya bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatva. It is very, very subtle, subtler than the mind, subtler than the space, because the space originates from Atma and resolves into Atma. So whatever is the material cause of space, the space will resolve into that material cause, which is Atma. Lord, as the consciousness, is the substratum and he is the subtlest in creation. This witness principle is the subtlest. Like space accommodates, the pure awareness accommodates all objects and beings. Entire planetary system, the entire Milky Way, the entire stars, the whole, everything is in consciousness. He, that consciousness, awareness, is inside and outside all objects. Here, that consciousness is personified as the Lord. Because as we think that we are the body, we also think the God is also a body with form. So here the Lord is trying to explain to us as if he is the Lord like us with form. He is far away if you do not have the Upanishadic knowledge. That means you will say this Lord is in Vaikuntha, he is in Kailasha, he is somewhere up in the clouds, he is in the heaven. All these phrases we hear. Because people don't know the nature of the Lord. The moment you understand that the Lord is this pure awareness consciousness, then all these doubts in our mind will vanish. I will know I am that pure consciousness. I am ever free. I am the witness of this body. There has to be a witness of this body. There has to be a witness for the mind. And I know that I am the experiencer of my mind. That experiencer is the consciousness. And for the person who has the knowledge of the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita, For him, it is very near. It is not only near, it is him. The consciousness is, I am that consciousness. You can't even say it's near or far. You can't say it is inside or outside. The only thing you can say is, I am that consciousness. That is why in the Upanishads, they say that you practice this meditation, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that Satchit Ananda. I am the awareness. I am the Sakshi. This owning up will help you to understand this knowledge, because it is the subject. It is not an object. The moment you say, I want to experience that, you are making that as an object, which is not possible, because consciousness happens to be the subject of this body, the subject of the entire cosmos. There is only one subject. From that subject, the entire world comes. Kathopanishad also talks in the same, that Atman by which man cognizes form, taste, smell, sounds, and other joys. What is there unknowable to that Atma in the world? This is the question which Lord Yama, the Lord of Death, is explaining to a 7-year-old student called Nachiketa. Just now I was talking to you about I am the awareness, and whatever I see through the eyes is the world. Awareness plus eyesight is the forms and colors. The same principle is explained in the Kathopanishad. And he says, I am that consciousness. Etat vaitat. This is a very, very important mantra from the verse from the Kathopanishad. Etat vaitat. There are about 25 verses in the Kathopanishad which end with the word etat vaitat. Etat vaitat. And what does etat vaitat means? This is the Atma you wanted to know, Nachiketa. Lord Yama is teaching the 7-year-old boy. You wanted to know, is there a consciousness which is available to the jiva when he drops his body? This is that consciousness. You wanted to know this. Is there anything after death of the body? Yes, this is the consciousness. He repeats this 25 times, the Lord of Death. Like in Chandogya Upanishad, the teacher says, Tattvamasi, this is what you are. Tattvamasi, this is what you are. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord is telling us in these verses, this is what you are. Etad Vaitad. Tattvamasi is this part of the Bhagavad Gita. Very beautiful section for meditation, for contemplation. If our mind thinks in these lines, I give you guarantee that you will know what is this Atma. It's a fact. A person who remembers these verses, he not only remembers, he assimilates the meaning of these verses for himself in his own mind. The ignorance goes away from his mind, and the seeker is able to claim his Swarupa, which is called as moksha. It is a teaching of that awareness principle, that consciousness principle. In Narayana Suktam also, whatever all this universe is, seen or heard of, pervading all this from inside and outside, That is Narayana. That is called as the eternal, cosmic, divine being, the awareness principle. Mundaka Upanishad, vast, divine, beyond all imaginations, shines the truth of Brahman, this awareness principle. Subtler than the subtlest, farther away from the farthest. It is here within this body. And who has realized it? The sages, the seekers, who were after this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. They are the people who realize this truth in themselves, not outside somewhere in Vaikuntha or Kailasha, not after 50 years or after 20 years of study of Vedanta, Upanishads and Brahma Sutras. Those are all okay. If I do it, is okay. But Bhagavad Gita has given me this knowledge. I understand the 13th chapter clearly. I know the truth here and now. I'm giving these other references here so that the knowledge sinks in us, in our deepest thoughts. Our mind is just the wave, the conscious mind which we have, 16,000 thoughts per day. All those thoughts are all conscious thoughts which you become conscious of. That is the mind at the top layer. But the content of the mind is this consciousness. If you remember this consciousness, the awareness principle, it is like the depth of the ocean. On the top, you can see the waves, which are just the thoughts floating around. We use the thoughts to live in the world. We know the consciousness behind the thoughts to know our true nature, which is Kshetrajna. Very beautiful verse, 15th verse, 16th verse, 17th verse. They're all talking of different aspects, different ways in which Lord Krishna is trying to tell us, come on, come to awareness principle, come to awareness. Free yourself from the identification of the body as yourself, identification of the mind as yourself. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam bhuta bharta cha tatneyam grasishno prabhavishnu cha. Again, he talks about the undivided nature. Pure, one mass of consciousness without anything in it. Sajatiya bheda rahitaha. Sajatiya means there is no, I think I have explained this before last time. Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata bheda. These are the three bhedas, differences, which we see in the world. But this, if somebody is not clear, I can explain in the Q&A. So this consciousness is one in which there is nothing else. There is pure awareness only. And knowing this consciousness, I enjoy this happiness in the purity. The mind has got a lot of doshas. Dosha means deficiencies. My mind is not pure. It has got kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya. These are all the impurities in the mind, in the conscious mind. I experience all this. I'm a witness to all the jealousy. I'm a witness to all the desires. I'm witness to all the ignorance. So those make the jiva very, very limited. But knowing this consciousness, which is the awareness principle, I become unlimited, limitless, infinite. Vibhaktamiva cha sthitam. Vibhaktamiva, he exists as if divided in the beings. Like the space is seemingly divided. In a small room, the space is seemingly divided. We are all sitting in our own rooms in a small space. These divisions are caused by the mind. It is the mind which splits into three parts. As soon as you wake up, Triputi, this is what is called as Triputi in Vedanta. The knower, known, and the knowing. The seer, seen, and the seeing. The hearer, heard, and the hearing. As soon as we all wake up in the morning, what happens is that pure consciousness, which I said earlier is my real nature, that gets reflected in the mind, in this mind which is waking up, and then it gets split into three. This is the nature of this world. This is a fact. This is explained beautifully in the Upanishads and in this Gita. You can see this here. That light of consciousness is one. Like you can see through the prism, you can see the 7 colors. Similarly, through one consciousness, but through the eyes and through the ears and through the tongue, you experience 5 different objects of the universe. There is nothing else beyond the 5 sense objects. The universe is only the 5 sense objects. That's all. Vedanta is very clear. Universe consists of 5 sense objects. This body consists of 5 sense organs. The interaction between the sense objects and the sense organs is this universe, which we call it prapancha, which we call it kshetram. In the kshetram, there is division. Your body is different than my body. There is differences. But when I see the differences, I should know that the seer is one consciousness. That is called as the divine I. That is called as the Bhagavad Gita I. EYE. Because my mind, when it has got the knowledge of Kshetrajna, that becomes the eye of the universe. It becomes the eye of this body, which is the eye which is seeing this body, the eye which is seeing the thoughts. And this EYE, which is the intelligent intellect plus that awareness principle, that eye is the same in all the bodies. Without the matter principle, there is only one consciousness, which is eternal conscious being. And Lord Krishna says, that is my nature. O Arjuna, that is your nature also. Don't worry about all the battlefield and all this which is going on. People are dying, so on. But that is not the real world. The real entity is this consciousness. Lord is pure, undivided, like the light or space. It looks different in all beings. That is an illusion, which is called as Maya, which is called as avidya, ignorance. Differences are in the medium, in the upadhi. Upadhi means the medium. Man, woman, sannyasi, brahmachari, grihastha, all these are upadhi. They are only name and form given to a body and given to a mind. That's all. Can I be just a body? Can I just be a name? No, I cannot be. I am a divine being. This name is given to a body which is born in the world. It is given to for the sustenance, for the passport. Name, address, height, weight, complexion, all these are all details of the body. It is good, it is useful for transacting in the world outside. But to know myself, I have to learn I am the consciousness, which is undivided, which is one. Manasaiva aptavyam neha nanasti kinchana mrityosa mrityum gacchati ya eva naneva pashyati. Again, another verse from Kathopanishad. I will be taking Upanishads if there is interest among the Gita students of Saturday. After finishing the Gita, I will be taking, if at all there is interest, enough interest, I will take the Upanishads. So Kathopanishad is one of the beautiful Upanishads which I will be taking for this group. Here, again, Lord Yama is teaching Nachiketa. What is he saying? By mind alone, this awareness can be obtained or realized. There is no difference here at all. No difference here at all. Very important point here. That is what is being described in this particular 17th verse. Bhagavad Gita is a essence of the Upanishads. I'm giving you the references of the Upanishads so that you can say, oh, this is the same point which is discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. And Upanishads are the Lord's words about the nature of the Lord. And if I know the nature of the Lord, I also know my nature, because the Lord says, you and me are the same. You are an eternal being, you are immortal. That's what the Lord is teaching. And here what it says is, Neha nanasti kinchana. Very important mantra. It is used by Vedantic students to understand this consciousness principle as the only existent entity in the universe. With reference to this pure awareness, there is nothing else, because it is independent principle. Like the waker. I can say, as the waker, I am an independent principle. All what was experienced in the dream state, neha nanasti kinchana, nothing exists. They were experienced, they had a utility, it was experienced, they had utility, and it was transaction oriented. There was a transaction in the dream. So dream had ETU, experienceability, transactability, utility. ETU. Similar, so as a waker, I can say dream had these three, but it is not as real as the waker. This is one part of the teaching. In Kathopanishad and in Mandukya Upanishad, the Guru says, don't stop with this waker. Now rise up to the level of Atma. Become the super waker, Turiyam, that pure consciousness. With reference to that pure consciousness, which you are in your sleep state. When you drop your sleeping body and the sleeper identity, you are that consciousness principle, that super waker principle, who is aware that this body is sleeping, this body is ignorant that it is sleeping, but there is a consciousness principle which is existent by itself without anything. Neha nanasti kinchana is with reference to Atma, the super waker. Mrityosa mrityum gacchati. That means the one who is identified with the body, he sees death. Because the death is for the body, and the jiva who thinks that he is the body, he is the mind, he doesn't have the knowledge of the Yama Dharma Raja. He doesn't have the Kshetrajna knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, where it says there is a consciousness principle which exists whether the body is seen or not seen. In the sleep state, body is not seen, but consciousness is there. If I own up that consciousness, then slowly, slowly, I will drop my fear of death. Om, chant Om, remember this truth. Immediately chant Om, remember this truth. Let this truth percolate in the conscious mind. After having understood the Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, all this knowledge you package it together in the form of Om. That is what Mandukya Upanishad teaches. Package the whole knowledge into one word, Om. I have understood the Bhagavad Gita. I have understood I am the independent principle. I am there as a pure consciousness in the sleep state. I have understood I have nothing in me. I am that pure consciousness. How do I remember all this? So many things you're telling me to remember. Now I'm telling you, just say, put them all as one word, Om. And remember this Om. Om is Atma. Om is timeless. Om is spaceless. Timeless, spaceless, objectless is Om. Om iti Aksharam Brahma, chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. The verse there teaches us, remember this Om at the time of death and you'll be free. You will never have rebirth into another body. Chapter 8 is a proof to say that there can be a person who remembers this truth. Throughout the Gita, again and again, Lord Krishna reminds us, remember me, fix your mind on me the consciousness. You will reach me. Matha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. There is nothing else apart from me. Mai sarvam idam proktam sutre maniganayeva. I am like the thread, the garland in which all the beads of human beings and minds and the whole universe is strung. In the garland, in the thread which is connecting, the thread is connecting all the beads and it becomes a garland. The whole world is connected to this consciousness principle without any division. It's possible for us to see this truth at the same time seeing this world. While seeing this world itself, you can remember this truth. It's possible. Swami Chinmayananda gives this beautiful example when he talks about the Bhagavad Gita, how it is possible. He says that when a person goes, a husband and a wife, they go to the gold shop. The wife is very busy looking at the gold chain, the beautiful chain, the form, how beautiful it will look in her neck. That is the vision of the wife. The husband is thinking, standing next to her, this chain is 75 grams and 75 grams of the gold costs so much. So he is having the vision of gold and she is having the vision of the name and form. So the husband has a vision. He's seeing the chain, no doubt. His eyes are seeing the chain, but he has the vision that this is going to cost me so much. So similarly, we can look at this body, we can look at this consciousness together with this body and say, body is making all this transactions. ETU belongs to body and mind. I am the awareness consciousness principle, which is behind the body, which doesn't have death, which is never born. And I own this consciousness as my real nature. This mind alone can realize the truth. So the mind can be a tyrannizing factor for us. If we don't have the knowledge of Atma, it can be a friend for us if it knows that the mind is seen or it is manifestation of that consciousness. I am the consciousness means I am the master of the mind. I am the mind or the body means I am a victim. I master the Bhagavad Gita. I master my life. These are beautiful sections of the Bhagavad Gita. If we understand these verses, they become very interesting and our mind can go into very deep levels which it has never gone. Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras, these are beautiful texts which take our mind to the depth which it has never seen. That is the beauty of this spiritual texts. You just follow the verses, understand where they are illuminating and what it is illuminating. You will find that it is illuminating the truth of the entire universe. And it is realizable. It is beautiful. It's got so much of joy in it. This consciousness, awareness, the Lord is the support, upholder, sustainer, nourisher, the director of this entire universe, controller of this universe. It is the ground of manifestation, unmanifestation of the entire universe as we know it from the sleep state. In the Jagrata Avastha, in the waking state, the whole manifestation is there of the entire cosmos. Till we go to sleep. In sleep, what happens? The whole thing collapses into unmanifest condition. The whole universe. For me, I am that consciousness. With reference to me, that consciousness, this entire universe is projected. The waking world is projected. The dream world is projected. Two projections happen. Where? In consciousness. Who is that consciousness? I am that consciousness. I am that pure being. Kshetrajna, Purusha. This is the teaching of the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishthitam, mai sarvam layam yati, tad brahma advayam aham. I am that non-dual awareness consciousness. In me alone the whole world is born. And in me alone everything exists. And in me, the consciousness, awareness, everything dissolves. This is called as Jneyam. This is what ought to be known. Oh Arjuna, you wanted to know what is the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. You wanted to know Jnanam and Jneyam. You wanted to know Purusha and Prakriti. I am teaching you that here. Etad Vaitad. This is what you wanted to know. Tattvamasi. This is the truth. This consciousness, awareness, one principle, if you understand, you know the entire secret of this whole universe. Stand apart from the body. The body is made up of 5 elements. The body is made up of matter. But the consciousness is a divine principle, it's something different than matter. It is the one which is able to see. It is the one which is able to know. I know I am a sentient being. I am the seer of the forms, the knower of the forms. The knowingness in me is called as Atma. We'll stop with the 17th verse today. There are 2 more verses which are beautiful connections to the Atma, the light of all lights, is what we are going to see in the 18th verse. The next verse, Atma is the light of all lights. Natatra Suryo Bhati. That mantra is being explained in this 18th verse of the 13th chapter. Jyotisham api chat jyotihi tamasa paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. This light of knowledge is seated in all the hearts. I am that supreme light of consciousness, which we will see next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay. Any questions from anybody in the group? I will ask Shanmugam to unmute everybody so that you can just ask questions. You can unmute and ask questions if you have. Yeah, but
Shekharji, nothing specific today.
Okay, very good. Okay. Anybody else has anything? Yeah, Rohini? Can you unmute yourself and then ask?
Unmute?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. As I've understood, all the Atmas are now, will go into consciousness as a pool. But where does Naraka come in?
Naraka?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
yeah.
What is that, do they go directly into that consciousness, the super consciousness?
Yes.
Which is a collective collection of all Atmas?
Yes. Okay. So your question is, what about Naraka, the hell?
Yes. Do we have that in Hinduism?
Yeah. You see, Naraka is one of the 14 lokas, which is matter. It is like earth. There is another loka, which is called as Naraka, which is again a matter. It is another, it's another place where a jiva can take a birth to fulfill some of his papa karma. So suppose you have committed, you are a serial killer in this in the earth, you know. And
Yeah.
you have, you know, your conscience is almost zero. Your you know, there is no viveka left in your intellect. So you think that you are not even a human being, you know, you are behaving like an animal body in this universe. And
Yes.
now where will he land up? He will land up in another loka according to the scriptures. You see, we don't know whether hell exists or
Yeah.
heaven exists.
I know.
As a seeker, if I am uh, aware that I am the consciousness principle, whether there is 14 lokas or not, I am not bothered. That question should be dropped off.
Okay.
You should just say, I am that Atma, and remain as Om. Chant Om, remember I am the consciousness, and forget about the entire universe.
Okay.
Forget about it. It is what the Lord is teaching us in the Gita is, he says that unnecessarily you're troubling your mind and body with so many thoughts. We all generate 16,000 thoughts per day. Mental energy is wasted.
Yes,
Instead of that, spend that. If you spend 10% of that energy of thoughts of the world, if you can convert it into thoughts of Om, you will see a huge transformation in your life. Try it out and you will see the difference.
Definitely.
It will drop. You see, all our fears, they are only thoughts.
True.
So many experiences we get, and they are bombarding our sense organs. Our sense organs is bombarded by all the WhatsApp messages in our phones. So many websites to look
Unnecessary.
at. Unnecessary. You just be very selective. I want to know, who am I?
Yes.
Will I be better off knowing that so and so thing happened in Africa on so and so date? No. Tomorrow morning or next week you'll forget about it. So what is the use of reading all that useless information? And so many messages come in the WhatsApp and, you know, in the newspaper, in the TV. So forget about all that. See, remember Om. That is the truth about me. I have come to the right place to know and how I should look at not only me and also the entire universe. My vision will get changed when I am learning the Bhagavad Gita. And it is definitely, all our mind will undergo a change. There is no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Shekhar-ji,
Bye-bye.
as you were saying, that means there is no such thing as heaven or hell?
It may be there, it may not be there, but why should I be bothered about heaven if I'm not interested in this earth itself? It's such a useless place to live in. So why should I be bothered about another place? You think it's, during the COVID times, do you think anybody in the whole universe is happy? No. So why are you bothered about another place, you know? In the Puranas, they talk about heaven. They talk about a place where you can just clap your hand and the food will be in your table. You can just clap your hand and suddenly you will have a nice program in your TV. All.
But they say that we have to go for judgment if we are a criminal, you know.
No. Forget about all that. You know, again, I'm telling you, we are all bombarded, we are all conditioned by what we have heard, and wrongly we are absorbed that knowledge. These are all wrong knowledge. Forget about it. Whether there is heaven or earth, it doesn't make a difference. You be free today. You learn Atma, you think about Atma, you contemplate on it, and let that Atma knowledge come to you. Drop all those. Like I said, that 16,000 thoughts, drop it. Heaven and earth is one of those 16,000 thoughts. Om is the only thought which will purify all those thoughts.
But there's a saying that we are reborn because of our past desires or bad life or whatever.
See, as long as you are thinking that you are the body, then all this knowledge will come to you. Papa, punya, birth, death, heaven, hell, all this is nothing but referencing yourself as the body. All these thoughts. You see, you are asking this question about heaven. It's what this heaven and earth is meant. Heaven and hell is meant for the body. It is not meant for Atma. Atma is not going to enjoy heaven or this thing. So you are only asking all questions with reference to this body only. Body wants to enjoy something. Body wants to, so therefore drop this identification. This is what is called as Deha Abhimana. This is what is called as identifying the I in this body. There is an I, aham. Now this aham can refer to the pure Atma, which is consciousness, awareness, or it can refer to the body. When your mind starts thinking about the body, about the world, then you must realize it is with reference to the body. Whenever there is a thought of the world, it means you are already identified with your body. Whenever you think about Om, that means you are identified with Atma.
Because we are trying to get rid of this rebirth.
Yeah, so you just chant Om. That's all. Forget about the body. Just chant Om. You chant Om and khatam ho gaya baat.
But is there such thing as rebirth and rebirth and rebirth?
No, there is nothing called as rebirth. If you are consciousness, there is no rebirth at all for you. Zero.
Quite complicated.
No, it is not complicated. Just believe in this. This is what Lord Krishna is teaching us. You accept it. You see, why you are saying complicated only because you think you are the body. Again, I'm telling you, the moment you drop this body, just tell I am not the body. So, who is asking this question? There is no question also.
The
questionnaire is gone.
You see, Nachika asked the Lord, what happens after death?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a very vast question,
Yes.
What happens to us after death?
Yes.
So we don't know the real cause of what happens to us after death.
Yes.
Whether they are rebirth, we are born into animals, we are born into birds, so we are born trees and this and that. So most of these people are interested in to know what are the process that we may go through.
Correct. You see that what you are referring to is Kathopanishad, this question by Nachiketa, where he was asking the question with reference to the body. He was saying, when this body is gone, is there anything remaining? Is there anything which exists after the body dies?
Right.
So Lord Yama taught him there is consciousness which remains.
Doesn't die.
It doesn't die. The same thing Lord Krishna is teaching us in these verses. Okay? Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, Shekhar-ji.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.
Shekhar-ji, good evening.
Yeah.
Okay, Shekhar-ji, when we studied Drik Drishyam Viveha, we studied about this open-eyed meditation.
Yes.
Okay, will that help us to keep these teachings in mind, while we are at work and all that? Because sometimes with the eyes closed, I think most of us are feeling very serene, very close to the truth.
Yes.
But the moment we go out to work, we meet people, it somehow thought is hovering, but out of habit, the old thing comes back. So how do I catch it?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah. See, you are asking a very, very practical question. Here, the only answer is that as long as this body is acting in the world, okay, this is a fact of life. Whenever the body is acting in the world, the sense organs will interact with the sense world. So that is, you should remember this teaching, that whenever I see this body and I see the world, which is what we experience as soon as we get up every day and we go to work, we go to kitchen, we go to family, the moment the eyes are open, the world is before us. So when we are acting in the world, don't think about trying to remember that consciousness, awareness. Just let you get absorbed in the world itself. Let the experiences come, go. Only thing is that don't get carried away. You see, for example, suppose you find there is a lot of problems in life, and you find at that time you just step back. Practically the way you should look at it is early in the morning or before you sleep, just ask this question. That question is, can I step back and ask, am I this experiencer of this body and the world, or am I the pure awareness consciousness? If you remember before you go to sleep once a day, or when you get up in the morning, just remember, I am that pure consciousness. I'm now going to put on a vesham. I'm going to just put on that cloth of this body and mind. I'm going to interact with the world. Whatever happens, let it happen. I will not be affected because I am that pure awareness. Just remember only once in the night before you sleep, but let it be a habit. Let me just remember that I am that awareness. See, what happens is, once you make this as a habit, slowly that world which was affecting us so much, then that world, that intensity of that affecting us, that gets reduced. Then what happens is, this is the first exercise, okay? Once you have mastered this for a few months, then what you can do is, every time you're interacting with the world, always remember, I am the awareness. I'm the awareness. Now I am interacting with my eyes and ears, and my mind is working. My mind is, I am awareness plus the mind. I am awareness plus the body. But I am this awareness. I am this awareness. And make it, see, this is possible. Because we are that. We are not, see, Bhagavad Gita is teaching us what we are. And even during this waking state, when everything is going around us, I am awareness. But I did not know this fact, that this sense of I is something separate from this body. I always thought the sense of I is inside this body, it's inside the mind. And I've been thinking that, that was a mistake I made. So it is possible to come out and just say, oh, I am the awareness. Nothing, it's not going to affect me, the consciousness. Let me go through it. Accept whatever comes.
Okay, Shikhaji.
Okay?
Okay. I just wanted to control the reactions.
We are just the observer.
It's good that you get your doubts cleared, so that, see, many people have these type of doubts because there are new things about us we are trying to learn, and we don't know how to apply this in us and get the benefit out of it. And once you know how to, the technique of applying the Bhagavad Gita for our day-to-day life, then it becomes useful to us. You will find slowly I am improving. Slowly. It won't happen all of a sudden, But even if it happens, 10% improvement, it's a great achievement.
Okay,
because, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Secretary, can we say we are just the observer?
Yes, of course. You can say, I'm just a pure observer. Sakshi, that is what is called as Sakshi. That is called as Atma.
Oh.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah? Ram Kumar. I am working on your offline classes. I attend most of your offline classes.
Yes.
Very well, because my time doesn't suit me.
Yes.
I just small clarification regarding Shravanam, Manam and Nityasam.
Yeah.
I want to know that you said body, mind and intellect. They're all 5 Panchabhutas.
Yes.
They're made up of 5 Panchabhutas. So when you die, what happens? Only the body dies, the knowledge, mind dies, the intellect also dies. But what about the knowledge? At that time, all your knowledge, what you learned, your thoughts, then when everything goes off, the impression goes with it into the next life?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got your question, Ramkumar. It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Now, you see, this question has been answered in the Bhagavad Gita itself in a section called as Yoga Bhrishta. Yoga Bhrishta is, Arjuna asked this question. The same question you are asking, Arjuna asked this question. Now, we must remember that only the gross body is left in this world, not the mind. Only the gross body is left in this world. The subtle body, which means the mind and the sense organs, the indriyas, the power, the mind and the power, they are leaving the body. How do they leave the body? Exactly like the fragrance of a flower. The wind carries the fragrance of the flower and it moves. So similarly, prarabdha karma will take the mind and move it out to another body. So the mind is surviving. You cannot say the mind is also dead. In the Indian scriptures, it is said that the body, the gross body, which is made up of the gross 5 elements, that is left. That is why nobody gets affected when there is death in the body. Nobody complains because it is the death of the external. You see, like for example, a dress. If something is happening to the dress, suppose somebody puts a color in the dress. In holy time, somebody comes and puts some color in my dress. I will not be affected. Oh, DK, okay, I will just go and wash this dress. So same thing happens to the soul inside. The soul means the one which is traveling. Atma means one which is not traveling, which is always free. So this question you're asking is the question is, it says that the soul is with the mind, has the knowledge, but it has got what type of knowledge? Not the physics knowledge which you have gathered in school and college. That doesn't travel. That is why we have to start learning A, B, C, D again in the new body. So the knowledge, there is a knowledge of Atma which you have learned in this body. For example, you have learned that Atma is consciousness, Atma is Nityaha. These are all some thoughts which have come into your mind. So what Arjuna's question was, suppose a person meditates on Atma, but he doesn't realize this Atma as his real self. He has not got a clear knowledge. He has got some knowledge, but not clear knowledge. So he asked the same question which you are asking. Do I carry this knowledge? Yes, the Bhagavan says yes. You will carry this knowledge. It will never go as a waste. And what will happen to you? You will take a birth in a family next time where this knowledge will be planted again for nourishing. Again, you will nourish this knowledge. Maybe you have learned this knowledge in the previous birth and you are now coming back and nourishing this knowledge again. Whoever comes to Bhagavad Gita, whether it is from Singapore, from anywhere, maybe at the previous birth, they have done some knowledge. Again, you're continuing the spiritual journey. The spiritual journey is different than the journey of the physical body. It is different than the journey of the mind. Is it clear? So you, if this knowledge, with this knowledge, you may be there in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that you may be born in a rich family where you don't have to work and you will pursue this knowledge again. Or you may be born in a Brahmin family where this knowledge is already taught by your father and your relatives, and you have a surrounding for this knowledge to nurture again. So never feel that you are studying something and maybe I'm too old, it's knowledge, maybe I may not be able to realize what's going to happen to me. Never have that doubt, because this is the spiritual knowledge. It will continue. It will continue, and have that confidence. I will realize myself, my true nature here and now. Have that confidence and move on. Let me continue the study. Let me listen, let me just keep listening. You see, that is what is what all the gurus, they tell that the students. You see, all of us are in the same boat like you. So the guru tells us, don't worry, just keep listening. Keep listening. Keep listening means what? It is purifying my mind. The more these thoughts are coming into this mind, it is getting the purity. The more this mind becomes pure, I will slowly start understanding better and better. That is what is called as sattvic mind. That means today we will learn about this in the next chapter. Okay. Okay. There is some other question here in the chat. There's a lot of things. Surendra Goel, can you just explain to me if you have a question here? How to live as consciousness, witness, and observer or seer without being affected by external or mental afflictions. We're conditioned to live as a body or mind and the consciousness and not the body. Yeah, okay. So I think you are commenting on what Ram Kumar said. So that's a good description, what you have said. These are the verses. Shariram yadam apnoti yachapya Ishvara Grit Vaitani Sanyati Vayur Gandhani Bhashayat. Yes, this is the correct verse for Ram Kumar. This is the verse which will teach you that what happens in death is only the mind travels along with the sense organs. This is the perfect verse, correct. Anybody else has any other questions or remarks?
That means, Secretary.
Yes.
We are now going in this life and past life. We have some knowledge of this Gita and all that, but that means we are every rebirth will be a class for us to make us better.
Yeah, that's correct. Your mind
upgrading
yes. You see, what will happen is next time when you, after rebirth, suppose you take another body, then what happens is you will start from where you have left. Wherever you have left, again you will start the classes, and again you will start understanding better and better.
Until you become perfect.
Yes, until your mind becomes purified, and the mind says mind itself will tell you, I am now very clear that I am Atma.
That's the final stage.
That is the last stage when you will say, I don't need any more study. Many people have realized it in this birth. It is not that you and me are trying to do it first time in this world. Many people have done it and they have realized it. So let us have the full hope that we will realize it now. We will realize it before we leave this body. Go with full confidence. Yes, it will take time. Okay, maybe you are just maybe in the last few, maybe in the next 2 lectures you will be realized. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so go with that confidence all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mandukya Upanishad chanting. What
yes.
The words are not there. Only the sound comes in the WhatsApp.
No, which one are you referring to? Are you talking about Bhagavad Gita or you are talking about Upanishad? Or what are you?
Mandukya Upanishad chanting.
Upanishadic chanting?
Yeah, what you have put every day, every Wednesday,
Yeah. I have circulated the chanting of the Upanishads also.
So, only the word, the sound is there, but the words are not there. Where we can read and chant along.
Oh, the words are it is there. The words are also there in the thing which I have sent, in the circulation which I have done. The words are also there and the meaning is also there.
Yeah, the meaning part is okay, but what you are showing on the screen online, it is the words and the chanting both together with Swami Paramatmananda.
Yes.
That video, is it possible to send it on WhatsApp?
Oh, you want the chanting in WhatsApp?
So that we can also chant along with the wordings.
Yeah, okay, no problem. I mean, I can send the same did you get the email?
Yeah, I'll send it to the mail. Through email, I'll send it.
Okay, can you send me a WhatsApp or send it to Vedanta students, what exactly you need, and then we'll forward to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. In case we'll continue this next week, 18th verse. Thank you and good night.
Okay. Goodbye.
Good night.
Thank you, Shekharji. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.